Hello everyone, hi, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode of The Expanse reaction. This is Red Life, and my name is Matt. And okay, The Expanse, we're doing it, we're rolling. Last time on The Expanse, what happened? We started season 5. And so I feel like that episode was kind of like a, you know, we're getting back into things. Nothing's moving too much, but he got to show us what every character is up to. So Holden and Naomi are at Tycho. Naomi's leaving Tycho because Fred gave her a lead as to where Philip is. So she's doing that. She told Holden, but she's also told Holden not to go with her because he's fucking James Holden. So it wouldn't be inconspicuous. But she feels like she has to do it because she thinks that Philip is gonna get himself killed because of his fucking dad. And she's like, alright, so I have to go and try and save him or do something for him. Not that I have a chance, now that I know where he is. So she's gonna go and do that. So that's what she's up to. Holden essentially confronted Friend a little bit over the fact that they have protomolecule and they're using it for investigation or whatever with Anderson Doss. That was pretty much it. Then the Naomi thing, and he's just staying at Tycho. I don't think anything else happened with him there. Not that I can remember, at least. He just felt lonely that nobody was there with him. Bam! Nobody else is there with him because Alex is on Mars. Alex went all the way to Mars in order to see his family and be like, hey, what's up? I wanted to apologize. But his son wasn't home, and his ex-wife is like, fuck off, get the fuck out of my face. So he's like, all right then. He invited Gunny out for drinks at a Texan, un bar tejano, los dos compadres. No, I don't remember. I don't remember the name of the bar. Also, I almost didn't flip the switch and I kept talking in Spanish. I could have done that. Flipping the switch is difficult sometimes between one language and the other. I forget to do it. Anyway, so they were at that bar and Gunny. Okay, so Gunny is working with Avasarala on some very like off the grid, just nobody knows private investigation, where Christian is funding Gunny so she can do some black market purchases. So then Gunny can investigate essentially where all this like taking of Martian technology that is super high tech, who is involved in that and what they have to follow. What is the lead that they can follow? So that is what she's doing. Then she met with Alex and she was very stressed and upset, and she took it off on Alex a little bit and told him, fuck off. They don't want to see you anymore. Stop being such a bitch, and walked off. And Alex was like, all right then. So he's just there in Mars, and he's seen that the Martian dream is dead. Everyone else, everything that you see in Mars tells us that nobody wants to stay in Mars working in order to make Mars better. They just want to leave to a different ring world that has an actual habitable atmosphere and just do that instead. So that's what they're doing. And that was the general atmosphere of Mars. And that was also even a thing previous season, but it's still a thing here. Then Amos is actually going back to Earth because he said an old friend of his died and she took care of him, and he wanted to go and get her stuff sorted out. So he's going back to Baltimore. That's what he said. I don't know what the fuck that is about, but I will tell you right now, since I'm watching this episode on Prime Video. By the way, you can watch them alongside me if you buy the full-length tier on Patreon. Wink. But on Prime Video, it says the name of this episode is called Churn, which I have been told the Churn is the Amos backstory novel, I think. So you know. Also Amos referred to like his backstory as the Churn or something like that, like 2 seasons ago, or even more so. So yeah, this episode might be interesting. It might be Amos interesting, so we'll do that. I would be down if we just got a full episode that was just like this is what happened like 30 years ago. The entire episode, just that, just be that. I would be down for that. So that's what he's doing. He got stopped at Luna, which was in the way to Earth. And Christian was there, and she was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Are you doing something related to James Holden and the molecule? Huh? 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 Huh?" And he was just like, "No, actually, just something for myself." She's like, "All right, are you gonna murder someone?" And he's like, "Mm." And she's like, "All right, if you do, I will not bail you out." And he's like, "All right." And he just went on off on his merry way to Baltimore. Christian is looking into the fact that like a scientific research ship blew up near Venus or something, and they saw some like fragments of meteors or whatever, which was like the ninth asteroid or something like that. And then they got killed by Philip and his people. So Marcus, is his people, before they could report that. So no one could know that the asteroids are coming and they're gonna hit the planet in about 2 weeks. The first one it will do so in like 12 days. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much everything that happened. That's where everyone is up to. Yeah, we may begin. So, The Expanse, season 5, episode 2. It's not right, yeah, 5, episode 2. Let's go.
A tenth of all you collect.
No ties here.
And no prisoner killed without permission from the controlling faction. And I haven't given you my permission.
Sahiro's dead. Who are you to tell us who we can kill?
I am Kamina Droma. You respect my claim, or you die and become a story I tell the next captain.
Okay, so drummer's crew, I suppose.
Transfer.
Goose transfer.
Go tell everyone I am in control of this area now.
Fucking sleep at night. You people took everything from us.
Not everything.
All of us.
So is she chaotic good now? So she seems to be a spice pirate now, but like a spade pirate with convictions.
What is that?
Obastainen.
Tynan. Place Ashford's shit.
Oh, so maybe they'll find Ashford's message. Sick. I like that. Baltimore. Let's go. We have an Earth episode. An injured kid. Were you that injured kid at one point?
Something I can do for you, Timothy.
Timothy? Is that his real name?
I'm Charles.
Okay, you never met.
Were you good to her, Charles?
She spent every waking moment hoping to see you again. You show up now and that's all you want to know? It was an aneurysm in her sleep. She died because we got old and we had a lot of mileage on us. She went to bed fine.
She never
And
woke
when I
up.
woke up, she wasn't there anymore. How the fuck am I gonna go on without her?
T sounds great.
Oh, he's trying to bond with this guy.
I knew some of what her life was before. I didn't care.
She just did what she had to do to survive.
Well, you can't judge someone by what they do to make rent. You were born into it. When you got old enough, the Johns didn't want you. So they started you working muscle. But she knew that they would use you up till there was nothing left.
I hated the implication of what he just said, by the
Go
way.
to the top or sink to the bottom. Everything in the middle is a churn. She told me that. No one really saves anyone. She taught me how to save myself.
I spent the best years of my life in this house. The best years of her life, too, I hope. I'm gonna miss this place.
Why are you leaving?
Can't
It's
pay
not
for it.
mine. It was hers. Some kind of favor from her old life. She let me stay, but now that she's gone, the guy who owns it, he wants it back.
Is this Amos' quest?
You think that someone's an underdog. That means they're the good guy.
Someone is going after the proto
Okay, so she's Holden's quest giver.
Proves that someone is going
Yeah.
after the proto-molecule.
Yeah. And here's the hero complex. Yeah, like, god damn it, I have to do something. Again. Fuck. Someone I don't even trust. Oh, is she gonna be dead in this room or something? Oh shit. Yeah, she's just dead now. Either she's dead or someone took her away. But there's a bloody handprint on the wall. Oh, if there's a bloody handprint, yeah, someone took her away. Yeah, somebody took her. Fred?
We have a problem.
You were low. I wasn't listening. I'm a shitty friend.
Amos says worse than that 5 times a week, and I know he'll take a vote for me.
Pretty sure I already have. This is all black market.
You got enough here to gear up an army, Bobby.
This is a rounding error on what's being moved.
You're not selling this shit, right?
Of course not. I've got a possible lead on stealth missiles.
Those are first strike weapons. Anyone buying one of those wants to attack a planet.
Now you see why Avasarella is funding me.
Flew with him on the Ascendant back when I was active duty. You and I are patriots, but Captain Sovater, he's got more dust in his veins than blood. No, there's no way a guy like that sells weapons to someone that can use them against Mars.
Look, I know it's a long shot, okay? All I have left are long shots.
You tried talking to him?
What, walk up and say, "Excuse me, sir, are you illegally selling weapons to the belt?"
Alex good.
I understand you're just doing your job, but I need a friend who would take a message there from me. Do you want to be my friend?
The blood you found was definitely hers.
What about the
Okay.
hotel's cameras?
Damn it.
Yeah, the news there isn't good. Someone deleted the footage.
So it was someone inside station security?
I'm looking into that.
Well, how about the asshole that you were fighting against earlier? Wait, that's him, right? Okay, she's alive. Where though? Okay, she's tied up.
But I will leave you with this,
I'll say this guy looks like an asshole.
and I hope we have given each of you the insights to carry the dream of Mars from being a planet circling a lonely single sun to a vision of humanity that can encompass 1,000 stars.
Oh, like there's this grandeur talk about Mars, but Mars doesn't matter anymore. Like it won't matter in like 100 years.
You pilot a stolen Martian ship for an Earther captain. I don't think we have much to say to each other.
Oh, he hates him for that.
Lieutenant Babbage. Emily. I'm one of
Okay.
Admiral Sovater's aides.
You can call me Alex. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
She could be in on it, by the way.
Find out why he's here.
Already on it?
Oh, she's working for him to do that. That kid's going through the same thing that Amos is went through, I think, right? And that lady's doing the same thing.
Come with me.
It's a reveal that that lady and that kid are not real. They're not there. Yeah, that was him. He's seeing himself. That was the past. Those are not real people. He's just seeing himself. And that lady is Lydia, I think that was her name.
I wanted to say goodbye before we left.
Do you have a daughter? Yeah, I think we saw her grandson, but never the daughter.
You could patch things up.
What I'm doing here is still important.
I have a question. What does Avasarala have to dress with this like Gallifreyan robes? Is that part of the job? Do you have to dress like that if you get to that point? I like that.
I have information from reliable, confidential sources that Belters are buying Martian military supplies on the market.
Do you agree with her?
With which part, madam?
Was it in a narrow ship?
50-50.
Higher than that?
Not much.
Christian, you're on Luna to do a job. It isn't this. If you'd prefer not to be involved in these discussions, you're more than welcome to submit your thoughts in writing.
Understood.
Instantly dismissing. I don't trust him.
Even if I could find
She's calling him?
There's a button, I pushed it.
Jesus Christ. That's really how you go through life, isn't it?
Look, there's a signal coming in.
What? Oh. He got a feed into where she is. She's sending him that feed. From her eye contacts. Okay, there's oxygen for the time being. Is she trying... You don't know if there's oxygen outside if you open this, though. Well, inspect the pressure drop, check for vacuum hazard. I like that. We have like a little atmosphere we can create here. That's not her container.
This isn't the right container.
Oh shit. So what is Amos's name here? I think Monica said something about being a crime boss or some shit.
Everyone knows Amos Burton's been dead for,
Okay.
what, a couple decades?
He faked his own death then. Oh! No, he was Timothy. He took someone else's identity, I assume.
Who killed him anymore, but now Amos Burton wants to talk.
It's a common name.
Not around here, it's not. What the fuck are you doing, Timmy? We had a deal.
I'm gonna need to change that deal.
Fuck you. You killed Burton for me instead of killing me for him. You got his name and a way off the planet. I made sure Lydia was taken care of her whole life. Now she's gone. You think you can come back?
I'm not back. And Lydia is not gone.
I went to the funeral.
She's got a guy. He loved her, and as long as he's here, a part of her is too.
The husband?
He keeps the house. And once he's died of natural causes, you can do whatever you want. But Lydia would not want him sleeping in an alley, so I don't either.
It's a very honest request. I like that.
That's all this is.
Yeah. He thought there was more serious. He just wanted that.
You should have just said so. You scared the fuck out of me coming to my place like this.
That was not my intention.
Yeah, the old guy can stay. I don't give a shit. Hang on, we'll drink on it.
Is he gonna take the gun?
Eric. You don't have to touch me.
That's what this was. Waiting for him to drink first.
God damn, that's good.
All this is really about the house.
It's about Charles.
All right.
This guy's a crime boss. Like, yeah, he did change. He grew a heart.
What the hell happened to you out there?
A lot! You have no idea.
Here too. I mean, look at all this. You remember when we were just street trash?
You two grew
Sitting
up
on the
together.
docks, watching
Probably,
the
yeah.
shuttles leave. Burton's fake ID won't hold up if you get arrested down here. It'll lead back to me. I've got a lot to lose.
To leave.
You did good, brother.
Okay.
I love you, and I miss you, I do. But show your face in my city again, and I'm putting you down.
Please save this girl. Oh, that's cool. Oh, he's spraying air. Cool. She's like, he really is a hero.
She goes out of her way to humiliate me.
Shocking. After the kindness you showed her when your positions were reversed.
Why do you think the science ship was destroyed?
Bad things happen to good people.
It do.
They discovered something.
Definitely high risk.
If it were you, why would you do it?
Took over something up.
Would you take the risk?
I know what you're doing.
Is it working?
She's trying to convince him to do this. To look into it. And he's like, God damn it, I suppose I will.
What you did today was hard. When you're hurt, hurting others is easy. It takes strength to choose not to. When life has not treated you with kindness, doing the right thing anyway always takes strength.
I like this.
I love you, Timothy.
Yep. There it
But
is.
I'm not righteous. I can't teach you to be that.
You have to become that yourself.
Maybe you and I can imagine a version of me that is good and kind and wise. I'll pretend to be her. You can pretend to love me enough to listen. Maybe that's enough for people like us.
She's sitting alone at the dock.
What are you doing on my dock, old man?
Oh, don't get in trouble.
Yeah, whatever, asshole.
Okay. What are you doing?
Chrissy, I'm gonna need a favor. I'm getting ready to go back to the ship, and I'm not coming back to Earth ever. There's someone that I should see first.
Who?
And I'm gonna need your help arranging it.
Who though? Oh, so yeah, he's made up his mind to never come back to Earth after this. Well, maybe there won't be any Earth to come back. What's that? Oh, okay. That's just a ship leaving the planet. This must happen often. Yeah, they said that they would sit at the docks and see the shuttles just leave the planet. Oh, that's the end of the episode? Wow, that went fast. That went by fast, dude. I did not expect that to be that fast. Alright, so that was Churn. The name told me that it was gonna be way more heavy on the backstory than what it actually was, but I still appreciate it. So, I appreciated it. So, okay, episode starts, and we see Drummer, and it appears that she is now... Is she a pirate? I believe she's a pirate. And she's just doing shit in the belts. But she's like, almost like a... She's almost like a morally gray or good pirate. So I think that what she saw was that Belters were taking shit from some UN whatever ship and some other pirates. And Drummer came in and she was like, "Alright, I hear that signal. Alright, so there is a ship that got their shit taken. Okay, I'm gonna go fight that fucking pirate that did it in order to force him to give me a percentage of what they took. 10%, not a lot, still 10%. The dude is like, fuck you, why do I have to give you anything? She's like, because I'm Drummer, bitch, and you will respect my name or I will make you. And he's like, no, bitch, or I'm just gonna, I'll kill you. So then, Drummer hit him. And then they were like, alright, never mind, girl. Here's 10%. Goodbye. And she's like, alright, tell everyone that this is my son now. Alright, cool. And that was the end of that. But then the UNN captain, whatever her name was, I wrote it down, but I don't feel like it matters, so I'm not going to even look for it. She was like, you pieces of shit, you come in, you take our stuff, fuck you. But like Drummer was like, I sent the distress signal back to like Earth or whatever, the UNN fleet, sure, whatever. So she essentially saved that ship from anything bad happening to the crew. She even stopped the other dude from doing anything bad to the crew. But she's like, I'll take their shit anyway. You can take their shit and I will take a portion of that shit that you took. But nothing bad is going to happen to them. In fact, I will help the message go through so then people can come and rescue them. And they will be ungrateful because we did take their shit. But nothing bad happened to them, so you know. So that's what she's up to. Because she did quit last season before Ashford died. And then she discovered where Ashford's ship was. And that was the end of what we saw this episode regarding Drummer. But that's fun. That's fun. We had a connection between her and Ashford, and now she's the one that might find out what happened to that ship, and maybe even the message that Ashford recorded at the end of the season, which was very important. I don't think Marco and Ars told them anything specific, but there were implications as to what was going to happen. So there you go. Amos went back to Earth. I liked that this was just Earth. We were just chilling, hanging out, being on Earth. Because, like, I like whenever we go to Earth. Because, like, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the space sets are boring. Being on another planet like Ilus, that was fun. But being inside of spaceships, being inside of cargo, being inside of space rooms gets a little bit boring. Because it's just like, alright, future room. And there's shit that is glowing. And that's the end of that. And I'm just like, okay, sure. It's a little bit boring. But being on Earth, it's just like, alright, there's some grass over there. There's a tree over there. All these buildings, they look urban. They don't look futuristic. They just look like regular ass buildings. I'm like, yeah, I like that. There's this weird, like, gray filter over everything. But, you know, sure, we can roll with that. So Amos went back home. And he went to Lydia's home. I believe that was her name, Lydia. That is the person that had died that Amos went back to sort stuff out regarding her. So he met this old guy who didn't know who it was. He didn't know who that man was. But they talk about Lydia. And he... Okay, so the old man thought, oh, you are Timothy. We learned that Amos's real name is Timothy. Cool. So little team over here, he went back home, and this old guy greeted him, and Amos was like, how did she die or whatever, and the old guy was like, she always waited for you to come back. She every waking moment she was waiting that maybe at some point will turn up. He never did, and then she died, just never seeing him again, which kind of sucks. But Amos was very worried about whether or not this man, Charles, was good to Lydia, whether Lydia was happy or not. And after talking to him a little bit, he comes to the conclusion he cared for her. They had a life. Maybe it wasn't perfect, but they had a life together. They spent 10 years there. They knew each other for longer than 10 years. And she wasn't killed. Nothing happened to her. She just died of an aneurysm in her sleep because she was old. And that was the end of that. And Amos eventually ends up thinking, poor guy. Not even that. It's the fact that it's difficult for Amos to care about, like, literally anyone. And he cared a lot about Lydia. Like, that's, like, the only person in his life that he cared for until he, like, left the planet and then Naomi showed up. And then we know the rest of the story. But before that, it was just Lydia. And maybe Eric over here, who was his bro. But Lydia, so Amos cares for her, and then he sees that this guy cares for her, too. And then he's like, and he also made her happy, so it's like, I care for this guy now, too. Because he actually took care of Lydia while I wasn't around. He made her happy. It's clear that he still cares for her. And, like, that is, like, the closest, like, connection that Amos can have to a person without like, actually, like, spending time with them, like, one-on-one. And even then, he spent time with this person, too, with Charles. But, like, I mean that, like, it's difficult for Amos to, like, give a shit. But something that will make him give a shit is someone that was connected to Lydia, made Lydia happy, and cared for Lydia. So then he's like, all right, this guy, I care for him now too. Because if Lydia cared for him and he cared for Lydia, I care for this guy too. So then the old guy is just like, I'm leaving the house because the guy who gave Lydia the house, Eric, is kicking me out. And yeah. Says he wants the house back, and I'm gonna miss this house. And I think he said, like, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I think he just has nowhere else to go. So then Amos is like, all right, stop packing. I'm gonna go talk to this guy Eric. So then he goes up to some street guy and goes like, hey, is Eric running this corner? And he's like, I don't know any Eric. And it's like, all right, listen, dude, bum. All right, I need a friend who will tell Eric Amos Burton is here to see you. So just tell him that message, okay? And he's like, all right, you're fucking dead, I'll kill you. And it's like, all right, just go, dude. So then Eric and Amos, they meet. And we get to see this character, Eric. So Eric has, what is the thing that Eric has? Is it like a birth deformity or something? Like he has this arm, he doesn't have a hand, and it's always like clutching to this. And I'm pretty sure I've seen them before. It's not like a birth deformity or something. It's an arm that is always like this, but there's no hand. It's just the arm. Whatever. So he has that. And he is the crime boss running the city, apparently. So, Amos ends up meeting with him, and we get to see that they know each other. And in fact, Eric is like holding Amos at gunpoint, being like, you think I'm not going to give you the city back or some shit. And Amos is like, dude, I don't give a shit. I'm living anyway. I just want you to let Charles stay there in the apartment. And Eric is like, really? Is that it? Really, dude? Okay, sure, whatever. Anyway, I don't give a shit about the gun anymore. Like, we're not doing anything, I suppose. I thought you were actually here to fight, but if that's all you wanted, sure, man. Whatever. I don't give a shit about the apartment. So that's that. Given he said that, and that was a ruse in order to see whether Amos took the gun or not when he was distracted. But Amos is very smart, and he's like, dude, listen, you don't have to test me. I really don't give a shit. And he just pushes the gun back to Eric, and Eric is like, okay, sure, let's take a drink together. And then they just took a drink, and he was like, God damn, that's good. And he just stole the bottle. Cool. I like that. And they talk a little bit about being young, being sitting on the docks and watching the shuttles leave planet. And they were like, man, someday we'll be on those shuttles. So that was the childhood they had. And Eric also said, so Amos. Okay, Amos. So he's running on a fake name, Amos Burton. He's not his actual name. It's Timothy. They might have hinted as to what actually happened, but of course they never gonna tell me outright, because why would they? So I think they killed a guy named Amos. Maybe he was the previous crime boss of the city. Timothy took over. Why did Amos say Amos Burton wants to see you? He could have just said Timothy. So yeah, what I'm thinking is they took out the previous crime boss, which was Amos Burton. Timothy Eric took over the city, and then he used that like ID to get past some security or whatever and just leave the planet. Amos did. So he did that, and then Eric took over the city, and that was the end of that. And that's how they made it big. So they did say, like, when you're living this life, you're either like the bottom of the lowest thing, or you get out there. You're at the high and you're out. Everything in the middle is the churn. So it's just like, all right, everything's fucked until you make it. And then when you make it, you're out. You're out. You're cool. You're good, man. But everything before that is just churn. You have to deal with it. So, okay. We got to learn a little bit about that view. Amos managed to save the house for Charles, but then at the end he's sitting at the dock and he's remembering, and I'm glad I picked up on this. It wasn't on the first scene. I don't remember how many scenes we had with the lady and the kid, whether it was 2, 3, or 4, but either on the second or third one I got it, and it's the fact that that lady and that kid, they weren't real, or they were real, but they weren't happening right now. That was Amos remembering his past. So that bloodied kid we saw was Amos, and the lady was Lydia, and she was taking care of him. Not to a perfect degree, but you gotta do what you gotta do to survive, and that's the life. And Amos, and like, okay, so there was an implication of something that, like, I think Charles said, which made me think that essentially people just had Amos. Like, some family just had Amos, like, hired him in order to A, beat him up, B, rape him, or whatever. It was some fucked up shit. And that's what they did in order to survive. And eventually, when they didn't want him anymore, they just used him to do, like, manual work or whatever. So, Amos essentially lived as a slave. As a child slave, until he got old enough to become a real slave. And I assume Lydia also lived the same life. I'm assuming Lydia put Amos into this life. I'm not sure if she was his actual mom. Maybe. She was like a prostitute and she just had him. And Amos was born into that life too. And I think Amos says something regarding that too, to like Prax. Like, way season 2 shit. Like, I think he says something to that notion. Like proving that he knew about that life. So, yes, Amos was essentially a slave. Maybe he was born from that lady, Lydia. She was a slave, and then he became a slave too as a result. Because she couldn't run away from that life, so he couldn't either. Yeah, so the narrative I'm building in my mind is like, maybe she was a slave, essentially, to that life. She was doing a lot of work, bad work, prostitution and shit, because the alternative is just dying. Like, either not surviving dying, or someone will have your head because you're not doing the work that you were supposed to, like a pimp or whatever. The crime gang shit. That's what they're forcing her to do. Amos is either born from her or taken care of by her, taken under her wing. And since she doesn't have any means to support him, provide him, or give him any good life. All she does is she can just teach him, this is what you do to survive. You gotta do what you gotta do in order to survive. And I'm sorry, your life sucks, but I really cannot do anything else for you. So I just have to throw you into this life. And I'm sorry I cannot be a good person because I'm putting you through this, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And that's just kind of the mentality Amos grew into. And she said, I like what she said. It proves that she was actually like a smart person. She saw the life in some interesting eyes. She said something like, what was that she said? It takes a lot to do the right thing despite the situation being unfavorable for you. Something like that. Like, everything sucks and you're being hurt and you're still doing the right thing despite that, and that proves that you're very strong. Okay? Something like that. I can go back and check, but when life has not treated you with kindness, doing the right thing anyway always takes strength. Yeah. And she's like, maybe we can imagine a version of me that is good and kind and wise, and you can pretend to love me. Because and that's the interesting part about that, is that is not a flashback to what actually happened. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe she never actually said those things. Because she's saying that and then shows us that Amos is thinking that. So maybe Amos just has this picture of her that was greater than what she actually was. And the magic of that is that we might never actually know what she was like, what that person was actually like, Lydia. But we don't need to know what she was like. And that's why we didn't show a flashback, because that wasn't a flashback. That was Amos remembering her. So maybe she wasn't a good person. Maybe she wasn't. Yeah, she probably wasn't, because she said she wasn't. But she's saying, maybe we both can pretend that I was, and maybe you can remember that I was a good and kind and an insightful version of myself. And that's what Amos is remembering. Amos is essentially, because like, after a person dies, everything that a person was is essentially what memories of them are left. But like, even memories are faulty. Memories are not perfect. And they also get distorted, not only with time, but also with different... Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna get too deep into this. But like, every time you remember something, you're not remembering the original memory. You're remembering the last time you remembered it. So it's like a game of telephone. So memories are fucky. They're fucky, and then they get distorted by your emotions and your thoughts and the situation and whatever. So I like that they showed me that, because, and I like that that's what she said, because what essentially they're saying is that this Lydia that we're seeing, it wasn't actually Lydia. That wasn't her. That wasn't a flashback of something that actually happened. That was Amos as he remembers Lydia. That doesn't mean that that's what Lydia was actually like. That is just what Lydia meant to him. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. Because Lydia does not matter to the narrative, to the plot, to anything other than like what she meant to Amos. And we see this through the memory of Amos, and that is what matters. In a way, that matters more than reality. It doesn't matter what Lydia was like. It doesn't matter what kind of person she was like, what kind of things she did to Amos or she didn't do. What does matter is how Amos sees her as someone that mattered to him. And I think that is amazing, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's really good. Because we get to see through Amos's eyes what Lydia was to him, which matters more than what Lydia was actually like. It matters. The most important thing is Lydia's as she lives inside of Amos. Okay? That's it. And that's really important. I like that. Okay. And at the end, he asks Avazarella, he calls her Chrissy, I think, I'm gonna need a favor. And he's saying he will leave her and never come back. And I believe that because Earth might not exist anymore in 2 weeks. But he's saying, oh, I'm never coming back. But I need a favor first. And he's asking Christian for it. So I don't know what he's going to do. Amos is going to do some shit, but we'll see what. And fucking, what was his name? I already forgot. Eric told him, yeah, don't come back to my city. Because if they found your ID or some shit, they will see that Amos Burton is just going around. And they will trace that back to me. And I'm done. So I can't have you walk around the city. The deal is that you need to be fucking out in space. So fucking I hope I never see you again, dude. I love you, but fuck you. So get out. And that's the end of that. So something else. Yeah, okay. That's it for Amos's side of the story, which was the most interesting part of the episode. Alex meets with Gunny again, and she tells him what's happening. And Alex is like, all right, I know this guy, this whatever, Martian soldier man, colonel, whatever. So I'm gonna go talk to him. He tries to talk to him, and the dude is like, fuck you. You stole a Martian ship and you flew it under like an Earth captain or whatever and did some crazy shit. So then the other lady, the Admiral Lieutenant, whatever her name was, she goes to Alex and is like, hey, let's go out for a tea or whatever. And then she goes back to the captain and goes like, all right, I'm going to discover what he's up to. All right, cool. So they're in on it. They're trying to spy on Alex. Which is bad. Alex is not a good liar. He's probably just going to tell them or let the information go out like casually. And they're going to be like, well, they're either going to be helpful, which I doubt, or they're going to be the mole, which is going to be a good lead for Gunny and Avazarella, but, it's going to be dangerous. So that's that. The other side of the story, Christian is dealing with, we want to investigate into this fucking missing ship or whatever that blew up. Well, the destroy ship from the beginning of the previous episode. And Nancy Gao is like, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's going to matter when the planet blows up in 2 weeks, but whatever, Nancy. On Holden's side, and Christian is, she eventually ends up talking to Delgado, which is some admiral dude. It's essentially the strong force on Earth, I suppose, the head of that. And she's essentially trying to convince him to do some research into that, into the mind of the opponent, getting Yomi levels up in this thing. So that is Christian's side of the story. And then we go to Holden, our main character, our boy. We didn't see anything on Naomi here, by the way. I just realized that. But anyway, Holden. Holden gets a message from Monica. Monica is like, okay, listen. So I lied to you, okay? But the thing that I heard about, someone told me. And I don't remember what she said. But essentially she says, someone is going after the monomolecule. That's how I know. So I'll meet you and we can, I can tell you the information in private. So I'll be here. Come see me. Holden goes to see her and he finds an open door and a bloody handprint and her phone is missing and it's like, okay, fuck. So then they're like, all right, where is she? Where's our girl? Monica wakes up in this compartment and she has some oxygen in it. And she opens the compartment, but she's in a vacuum. So then the air starts to leak. Air is leaking. She's slowly dying. Holden gets help from Fred Johnson and Fred Johnson's right-hand man, who we have never seen before up until now. Maybe he hired him after Drummer quit. He is an asshole. I wouldn't be surprised if he was actually the mole in Taiko, but whatever. With everyone's help, we end up thinking, okay, she could be in a hidden compartment because she couldn't have left the station because nobody has gone in and out. As soon as I heard, nobody got out. So she has to be in the station. Hidden compartment, most likely. Let's look over all these things. And eventually they did end up finding her and they rescue her. That's the end of that. That's the end of that storyline. So that was cool. And I think that's it for the episode recap. Anything else that happened in it? No, as far as the recap, that's pretty much it. I want to know more of Amos. So it seems Amos is gonna stay on Earth for a little bit. He wants to leave, and he will live forever. Maybe there won't be an Earth to come back to anyway, but it seems he's staying here for a little bit, and there might be some conflict with Eric and Eric's people, because Amos is staying for a little bit, which he shouldn't. But he said he's gonna need a favor from Christian, so I don't know what that is about. Yeah, that is the most interesting thing to me, and as well, Monica telling us who's after the proto-molecule. Christian is on the right track as to figure out where the Marco and our shit, but nobody's paying attention to her, so fuck us, right? Hopefully, Delgado can help us out with that. And Alex is gonna get himself in some more trouble. So there you go. Oh yeah, and the drummer thing. Finding the Ashford message that he recorded last season is imperative. I don't think anyone got that message because it said like transmitting, but I don't know where to. Maybe he transmitted it to his own ship. And nobody got it because the ship was stolen for pirates or whatever, by pirates. But yeah, okay. Maybe Drama will find the message, and she will be the one helping us tie up the whole Marco analysis thing. I fear it's gonna be too late though, because like I feel that this show has to escalate every time. It has to go wilder and wilder. And I feel like it's been given enough build-up, like the asteroid shit, that I'm like, something, it has to hit it, the planet, man. Come on. It has to hit it. It's either gonna fucking make Earth inhabitable, just fuck it. Or it's gonna get real bad. Because maybe we can stop like whatever amount, except the first one. And the first one is enough to fuck the planet. So there you go. That can happen. Yeah, I just want to fast forward up until we get there. But how much time did we spend? So Amos got there and it was morning and then it was nighttime. So yeah, let's say a day has passed. So 11 days up until Earth gets rocked. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything that happened this episode. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good for this review thing. I'm excited because like I feel like we're not doing anything specific this season yet, and I'm waiting for it to happen, right? Yeah, because like previous season we had Illus, and it was like very clear Illus. Book 3, it was Evidence Gate, which was like rings, and it's like, okay, what the fuck? And it was a very clear, this is what's happening. Book 2, it was like, okay, we gotta find practice that, or yeah. So what I'm thinking is, here now in the 5th season, it feels like nobody is doing anything like that is like, okay, we have several story threads, but they're on like individual and they don't matter on themselves. But I'm waiting for the moment where it becomes, this is the main thing. Fuck, let's focus on that. I'm waiting for that to happen. Because for the time being, Alex is like, okay, I'm investigating that shit. Amos is like, I'm doing my own thing. Naomi's like, I have to go after the sun. And Holden is like, oh, this Monica lady, what does she know about someone going after the proto-molecule? And it's like, yes, many threats, it's all going to come together in some form. And I'm waiting for the moment where everything comes together. And it's like, okay, this is the main thing. We're sticking to this linear path. Let's see what the fuck happens. I'm waiting for that moment. But for the time being, this is what we're doing. But yeah, anyway, I feel like that was it for this episode of The Expanse. Yeah, it was good. And okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching this episode of The Expanse. If you would like to see next episode's reaction, it's already up on Patreon, as well as full length for all of these. Check out the links in the description for that, everything else, and I'll see you next time, okay? Goodbye, everyone. Take care.